Hello everybody and welcome back to JT Coding. I'm Jordan. I'm going to be showing you guys how I built a Flappy Bird AI from scratch. So I've got all of these modules here that I have separate code in for this single AI. And I'll be showing you guys how it actually looks. This is what it looks like. Got it here. You can even play along with them. If they die though, it resets. So I'll kill myself and then show you guys just how it runs on its own. So you guys can see here in the bottom left corner, it actually shows the generation and the high score, the highest score that any bird has gotten. And it starts off with a population of 100 birds, and they will eventually learn how to play the game through trial and error. As you guys can see here, by generation 15, we have a bird that is pretty good at playing the game. Could be better. Though it looks like this one will actually last through any pipes that are thrown at it. So how exactly did I make this AI? Well, I did a lot of research. I coded it from scratch, so it was pretty difficult at first. But I'll show you guys what resources I used and how I figured out how I would actually make this. Alright guys, so for the most part I used this website called Medium, and it's actually available on iOS. I'm not sure about Google Play, but it probably is. If not, there's the website you can always check out. And you can really just, it's like really great because it's got a bunch of articles. You can really just search up whatever you need. And like I would just search AI. And then you can go down and you can see that there's all these different articles that you can read, and they really helped me out. I think specifically the article I used was... Alright, so yeah, the article that I used was actually this deep dive into math behind deep networks. And I read this whole thing. You can go and check it out and read it yourself. It's a very good explanation. It really helps visualize neural networks. And even this one uses a library when he's using it, but he explains the math that you actually need in order to code it from scratch yourself. So this is what I used, just all of this stuff, and I put it in my code. It was like really interested in especially these activation functions I needed to find out, but they're actually not as difficult as I had thought. Since he doesn't really explain them that well, you can actually check out other articles explaining activation functions better. And instead of using loss functions, I actually used actually took a different take on how I was going to have the AIs actually learn, and instead I did something that is similar to evolution in real life, like survival of the fittest type of thing, and mutations and stuff, and that's how I got mine to work. That's what I figured was best for an AI playing Flappy Bird. So yeah, this is really good, and if you want to check out this other stuff too that I didn't use in my project but is really good to check out, you can also read this article. I'll put a link in the description, and yeah, it's really great stuff. Alright guys, so another article that helped me a lot was actually this Introduction to Deep Learning with Computer Vision Activation Functions, and this helps go into more depth about activation functions. You can read all this for yourself, but it really explains like the need for an activation function, what it does, because really I didn't want to just know how to code an AI, I wanted to know how it worked in order to better understand. Personally, that's what I did. If not, you can always just use a library. There's plenty of libraries out there that still take some understanding of artificial intelligence, but are a lot easier than coding it from scratch. So after I had done all the research on artificial intelligence, I had written it out in a notebook. I find that that's the best way for me to visualize what I'm going to code. And then I split up my coding into actual modules. So I have the main module that just runs everything, imports the other modules here. And in the neural network library, I used all the information that I had gotten from from the articles that I had read, and I had actually made this neural network module sort of like a renewable, like a library that I can use when making any AI for anything. So this one's a lot more complicated in the fact that it can work in a lot of different situations. See, I've got the activation functions here, and I put them each into their own functions, and I actually used classes for each part of a neural network, like the neurons, the activation part, the altering the weights, the layers. I made their own class for layers, and a class of brain, which controls a ton of neurons, and it can actually be set up the way that you want it. As you can see here, these is where you would input the amount of neurons you want in each layer, and which type of activation function they will be using. Okay, as you guys can see here, this is actually me setting up the brain and the structure of the brain. As you can see, there's going to have 4 inputs, 5 in the first layer, 5 neurons in the first layer using the ReLU activation function, and then 4 in the second layer using the ReLU activation function, and then 1 output, which would be to jump or not to jump. And then for the inputs, what I actually did was the 4 inputs were the distance to the pipe, like horizontally, the distance to the pipe vertically on the bottom and on the top, and then the distance to, and then the velocity of the bird. And that is what is input into the brain of the bird in order for it to decide what it's going to do. And then you can see here I create a network into a list. Like I put all of the population is set here, and then for I in the population it creates one brain for every single bird. Now if you couldn't already tell in this functions, I'm using pygame in order to make it look like Flappy Bird, instead of just, well, not having anything. So as you can see here, I have quite a few functions for updating the ground, the pipes, the bird, and like the output from the neural networks is actually just put directly into the bird to jump. So if the output's 1, the bird will jump. And this is all set up in the bird class in the functions module. So as you guys can see here, I did put a lot of work into this, and I do think that it was worth it. I think that this was a great project to help me better understand artificial intelligence and how it works, and also it helped me with pygame. In a couple days, I'll actually make a tutorial on how to make this Flappy Bird AI. If you guys are interested, please like, subscribe so that we don't miss the video, and I'll also be posting videos on how to code with the pygame module and how to set up your own games and stuff. So if you like the video, please like, subscribe, and let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this.